Huh.
Well, hey, girls and boys, it's Dane here, JONAH Guitar, and I just been knocking some stuff out of the shop, some setup work. Just kick the camera. Setup work. I just set up a PV. Looks like a Music Man, so I almost would swear that it was a Music Man, but looks the same. It's the EVH with the detuna thing on it and the Floyd Rose, and so set that up. Actually did a level crown polish on that plus a setup. I've never messed with one of those, but it's a sweet little guitar. I've got a Squire Tele on the bench here, and that's the reason I turned the camera on. I want to show you some stuff here. We'll turn this up. Did you just get a good shot of my bald head? All right, so here we go. I'll tell you what I've done so far. It's that same kind of thing where I'm thinking, well, I'm not sure I'm going to turn the camera on or not. Anyway, this is kind of a unique pickup combination. I can't say I've seen one like this. Now, these all happen to be Duncan pickups in here. I couldn't say which ones for sure. Oh, I get, well, no, excuse me, I take that. It says Duncan designed. So apparently Fender had Duncan do that. So, but we got a mini hum in the neck position, and then looks like a pretty standard, like a middle Strat pickup, and then a standard Tele pickup, although they're Duncan. I played it. It seems to play pretty decently. It had the action's kind of high on it. You'll find out in a second why I haven't bothered, straightening any of that out. Replacing the tuners. They're not a bad. They're a sealed, tuner, standard kind of Fender double pin, no screw on the back, just the pins and a lock nut. Owner wants to replace those. In fact, he gave me the guitar and then he ordered a bunch of stuff and had it delivered to my house. So, staggered tuners, Fender branded staggered tuners, Fender branded Bigsby going on here, which means, of course, then we have a different pickup plate. So this bridge comes off. This bridge is almost off. I started to take the bridge off also. So I took the tuners off, taking the bridge off, and then I'll be putting the Fender Bigsby back on with mounting plates and the pockets for the. They got the bridge on the old Fender Bigsby's. The bridge wobbles, so it's supposed to compensate for a little bit of that string travel. Oh, and a Tusk nut. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do with this thing. And if I can just get in your way here or what, but I'm going to finish pulling the bridge off. I don't know how much of this I'll film. I suspect that watching me do every little thing on some of this stuff gets to be, it could be a drag. So I'm going to do, because I know I'm putting another plate right back on here, is rather than unwire the pickup, unwire, is that the right way to say it? Diswire, rather to, get the soldering iron out and all that and pull the pickup completely. I'm just going to take it loose from the bridge and then leave it laying there and see what is required of the next piece of hardware, because I don't know yet. I'm out of there. There we go. So bridge is off. and I'm losing screws. So there's 2 there, so is the other one down in the pocket? Nope, I don't know. I guess I lost a spring already. There it is on the floor. Alright, so I'll bring you back in. It's getting a little late here for me in the shop. I'm going to clean this up while I don't have any hardware on it. I mentioned this fairly often. I really like, in fact it's still open because I just used it on another guitar. This preservation polish, I don't know what's in this stuff. I know it's silicone free, and I know it seems like I'm doing an ad here for StuMac. I just like this product, and it cleans up really nicely. Seems to get a lot of the crud off. If it's super heavy cruddy, then I will do a little pre-wash with naphtha or something. Sometimes, depending on what's going on, I might use a little simple green or something. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll bring you back in. In fact, all the parts are in the house, so I can't even show you what's going back on this thing, but I'll round that stuff up and bring you back in. Hey everyone, back out in the shop, working on the Telecaster Squire with the mods. So first of all, I'll turn the camera over and I'll show you something. I've noticed that this little mini humbucker in the neck position was just sitting really crooked. So I thought, well, I got to see what's hanging this thing up. So I'll show you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but we'll pull in a little bit. Okay, so right now you can see it's flat and it looks fine. I thought maybe the wire was too tight and it was pulling it back because it wouldn't move. But when you put the pick guard into the position where the screws hold it, did you see this? I don't know if you can tell from that direction. When it's like this, let's zoom in some more. Sorry. It's like this, it's flat. As soon as you push it in, you see that thing, yeah, you can see that pickup moving up. It's actually hitting the front of the cavity here, so they've got this rather massive cavity right here, and the pickup is running into the front edge of it. So I'm going to sharpen up one of my chisels, and I say because I'm pretty positive that it's really not sharp enough to do this cleanly. I don't want to take it apart enough to put a router in there, so I'm just going to take a chisel and go across the front of this cavity and hog out a 1/16 of an inch or so, probably just the width of the Mini, and work on that until the pickup will go up and down without being sideways. So that's the first thing I'm going to do after I turn the camera off. I want to show you though, and we'll back this up again, what we're doing here. So going to be, oh, I should grab the neck. Anyway, going to be putting these Fender branded staggered tuners on. Well, obviously on the peg head, and then this Bigsby. This is the Fender. Again, it's got the Fender F on it here. So it's the equivalent of the B, which means basically, if you're talking Bigsby language, that's their flat top Bigsby. The 7 is like the arch top, and they've got other numbers that I haven't bothered keeping up with. So in the little box here, and turn it down a little bit, we've got the bridge I was talking about the other day. I guess that was just yesterday. No, it was the day before. Anyway, this bridge sits in the pockets, and you can see that it's kind of the old school Fender style stuff with the grooved or threaded saddles, barrels, and they're 6 individual, so it'll adjust radius nicely, and it'll also intonate nicely. Then there's in here, well, that's the spring for the Bigsby. I guess I should try to look at the camera and see where I'm at. So it just takes these little cups that go down into the body, and they're bigger than the shaft on the bridge. So you get a bit of a wobble out of that, and that compensates for the Bigsby. So it can travel a little bit with the Bigsby and then just come back and set where it needs to. Bigsbys aren't designed for dive bombing or doing anything crazy. That Steve Vai kind of action, or any of those guys. Just a little bit of a warble, and most of the ones I've run into are really hard to keep to get them back to come back to tune. I'm usually pretty successful once I fiddle with them a bit, but they can be a pain. So here's the actual Bigsby right here. Ta-da! And then there's this plate that you get with the Fender setup, so that you're taking off the typical Tele bridge. So this gives you a place to hang your pickup, and then the cups go right in here. You drill the body, but the cups going through there. What I don't know is if these don't line up with anything. So the pickup screws into that. So these existing bridge holes don't line up, so I'll have to assemble some things and set up the scale length from there. Anyway, like I said, first thing I'm going to do, I think I was probably just right in your way. I'm going to shave this pickup cavity out and get that so that pickup lays nice and flat in there. And then I'll start fiddling with the bridge and getting it all set up so we know where it's going. All right, brought you right back in here. So just flip the pick guard out of the way, and as you can see, I took about a 1/16 of an inch that away, right, of depth, down up to about a 1/4 inch. I only needed to, get somewhere below the pickup. So, and it works. That was enough to get me where I needed to be to put this thing back on the holes where it goes, and have the pickup, function normally and be flat in there. So we're all good there. So I'm going to start fiddling with the layout on the Bigsby, and after I screw that down, and see what we can figure out. Yeah. Oh, where was I? I saw something here. So I was saying I'll be back out of here. So the B5 is the flat top Bigsby, and then the B7 is the arch top Bigsby, and the B3, I don't know. It doesn't say what it is. It just shows a picture of it. It's a mini one. No, I don't know. Oh, look at directions. Well, shoot. That might come in handy. I didn't know there were directions. Good deal. I'll let you know. Hey, might be a good thing to look at. I'll bring you back in here for a few minutes. Told you I was going to take a look at these directions. So anyway, my concern, right, being a guy that builds guitars and does a lot of setups and all that sort of thing, is you got to make sure that the bridge is set up at 25.5, you know, from the net to where the high E string takes off at. And you have compensation from there. So compensation meaning that as the strings get thicker, not generally always, like the fat E is always the farthest back, and then the A, and so on. And that's just compensating for the distance you push the string down on the fretboard as you come up the neck, because it stretches the string, so makes the string sharp. So you have to push the string back to compensate for that. Called intonation, you could call it compensation. But at any rate, it doesn't say anything about, well, I'll read you what it says, actually. I just find it kind of interesting. Well, I'll read it word for word. Okay, I'm skipping the first couple things. It just says attach the bridge pickup back to the bridge plate, which is the new plate, which the bridge pickup is just sitting in here loose right now. I did have it screwed in. And then it says, and place the pickup back into its original location. It says to fill the existing holes, plate holes, where you would have screws mounting the bridge down. I did have, actually you can see, the original attachment for the bridge screws see this, I don't know if you can see this pencil line right here. And that actually is the line where the screw holes were. And then I'll tell you this in a second though. So they're just saying slam it in here, mark your holes, and mount it. And okay, center the bridge plate, lightly mark all holes, hole locations by hand with a 3/32 drill bit. Okay, drill them out and mount your plate. Well, then if you skip ahead a few steps, you get down to the bottom here and it's showing you with the red string provided, lining up the actual tremolo, vibrato, excuse me, use the correct terminology, lining up the vibrato with the bridge and with the neck. Well, if the bridge isn't lined up with the neck, you're screwed. And maybe they're assuming because these are threaded barrels that you have room to kind of move your strings around. But I think that's kind of wacky. So, long story short, still doesn't tell me anything about my scale length, and it doesn't tell me anything really about my side to side. If you just set the thing down where you think it was originally and do that. So what I took the original bridge and the new plate and lined up the pickup cavities, so I know the pickup cavity was approximately where it sat. Then I lined up the large hole where the cups go for the bridge to pivot in. I lined that up, and then I checked where the bridge saddle on the new bridge lined up. If you centered this in the hole and you centered it with the old bridge, then 630 seconds, excuse me, so 3/16 forward of the old holes, the old bridge mounting holes. So I had to have something to kind of go off of, so I decided to do that. So I went 3/16 forward. That's where the center of the bridge cups will be, these things, right? So that'll go in here, and that's where the bridge will sit, and that'll put my new bridge at 25.5-inch scale. Now, I also needed to figure the center of this thing, and so I took their red string. Oh, do I have that handy? I've mentioned in other videos that a lot of people talk about going off the center line of the neck, and that's all fine and good if your dots are in the center of the neck. But I like to just run a straight edge down the side of the neck. And I know this is a bolt-on, by the way, so I mean you could tweak the neck a little bit one way or the other. This neck pocket, however, was pretty snug. So I put the straight edge down here, and I was just eyeballing where I was with the pickup magnet here, and where I was with the pickup magnet on the bridge pickup. And then I came over to the other side. And you won't be able to see this, but you watch the roll, you'll be able to see that. This roll, yeah, I'm basically in my own way here. The roll is rocking. There's a hump on the base side of this neck. There's a huge hump right about here, and so I can't really line anything off of that, because if you hold the straight edge there, then it lines up pretty good. If you tip it that way, it's off. So I can't use the straight edge on the side of the neck. So I grabbed the string, and I'm going, and this could be completely stupid, but I'm just figuring that the strap button is in the middle, and that the dots on the bridge, and I'm probably just got my arm right in the middle of everything. Let me move the camera. Well, I moved the camera, but it's not going to help a lot, so I'll just hold the string from underneath here instead of having my arm over the top. So lining the dots on the neck up, and then going out to eyeball down to the strap button, which is kind of wanky. But there I am, I'm about center. And I've got doing that, the center, I'm in the center of the neck, the middle pickup according to the magnets. I'm in the center of the bridge pickup according to the magnets, and I'm also in the center of the bridge plate. Now, you know what, the bridge magnets don't really count because they're not mounted. I should probably mount them and do this again, but I am in the center of the center hole of the mounting screws. So I think that I'm in good shape, intonation wise, scale length wise, and then also center wise. And what I will do is I'm going to mount that pickup again, just to make sure that it's looking good with the string. Then I'll just mark and drill this center hole, put that screw in, and then I can swing this bridge one way or the other to make sure my lines are lined up perfectly with these cup holes. So that's what's going to happen, and I'm trying to spare you all the dirty, nuts and bolts of actually setting stuff up and drilling and doing whatever. So, but that's what's going to happen. Now your gear. Okay. We'll carry on from here. So I've been working on the Tele, you know that, and I'm just going to explain kind of the process that I went through to get these holes drilled, because you want them to be the right size, the right depth. You don't want to chip them, and if you've drilled wood with a regular twist bit, metal bit, you know that. And I used an awl and punched a hole in there, where it lined up at. But if you just go at it with that, it's gonna drift. It'll grab a piece of grain and wander. Now, having said that, the grain in this wood is really soft. So I don't know if it would have grabbed anything, but I showed you this before, I think. I bought this 3-piece set of metric step drills. Believe it or not, if you've priced step drills in a hardware store, it's like we have Milwaukee step drills in the hardware store I work at. It's a drill like this is pushing $100. Anyway, so this set cost me $14 or something on Amazon. So it said in the directions that this was a 9mm hole for this, or N, what's the hole size? 23/64. That is actually what this drill is, 23/64. Well, when you mic all those things, they mic exactly the same size as the sleeve. So, I'm used to drilling Gibson posts, and they have to be pressed in or tapped in. This will just slide on in here. It's snug. It's not like sloppy loose or anything, but it's not what I'm used to. But that's kind of an aside. That's beside the point. I think I'm going to put just a little It's actually not bad. It snugs up. So it must be a little taper on the cone here. But anyway, I'll probably put just a drop of Type Bond on there as I put them in. I'm also going to have a wire in this hole, just a guitar string basically in the hole. Tap that in, bend it over so that the plate grounds to that, and also to the wire that's already going back to the control cavity, so that you get the ground off of the bridge. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a bridge ground because it's on posts out here now instead of built into the bridge itself. So what I did was I did a test block. I always do a test block. So I just drilled a hole in this piece of maple with the 23/64 drill bit, and then I checked it, with the actual puck, and it fit just dandy. So trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. So I pre-drilled a hole in the top in the guitar with like an 1/8 inch bit to give me a little bit bigger hole to work with than just the awl that I punched. And then I thought, well, I've been finding these step drills really handy to graduate up to a size you want and then going after it with the bigger bit, and that's exactly what I did. It worked out. It goes from an 8mm to a 10mm, so it has a little bit of a chamfer before it goes up to the next size. So what I was able to do was run into these holes, and we'll pull you in now. So able to run into these holes. This is all over at the drill press, by the way.